So for the first time since I can remember, I don't think it's a good idea to buy KTM's next enduro bike. What I would, if I was going out and getting a bike today for me, I'd be looking for a 2025. I think KTM has lost their way with the enduro bikes just a little bit. Guys, I'm talking specifically about the 2026 KTM Enduro bikes, and I have a couple of reasons why I don't actually think it's a good buy. And I'll tell you what is the bike that I would be looking for instead of one of the Enduro bikes in 2026.
Hey, super quick, I need your help more than ever. If you like this content, please use the links to Rocky Mountain ATV. It's the only reason that we're having this conversation. And in September, I'm going to do an amazing sweepstakes where we're giving $7,000 in cash out. People are going to win, 10 people are going to win cash from me, up to $2,000 and $1,000. Anyway, that's in September, but I need you to use the links right down here in this video description if you want this content to continue. Okay, back to the video.
We've talked quite a bit on this channel over the last few months about KTM's financial struggles. I've got a bunch of videos on that. Indian company taking over KTM and moving everything to India so that these things become Indian pieces of where they've been in bankruptcy and they've been trying to solve the company or solve the problems. Hey, is KTM as we know it now cooked? They made a ton of financial mistakes and the company has been in really hot water and doing restructuring, and they laid off a bunch of employees, or at least those guys weren't working forever. And at the end of the day, here's kind of what happened between 2025 model year and 2026 model year. Yeah, that was it. I just told you. Basically nothing happened. The frames, they didn't update the frames between 25 and 26. They did some, quote, damping changes in the fork and the shock, but that's basically code for we did nothing. Like all these dirt bike manufacturers, when they don't do anything to the bikes, they always do some updated fork damping or shock valving or whatever. Like, so when I hear that like, oh, they updated the shock for the new model year, it's code for you did jack diddly crap. You didn't do anything. That's basically, you haven't done anything. And then with the fact that we have so many of these 2025 bikes still sitting on dealer floors, that was kind of like the problem. Is you had a bunch of unsold 2024 models, then you had a bunch of unsold 2025 models. So the reason why I wouldn't buy a 2026 is because they didn't make any changes to it, and there's still brand new 2025s sitting in dealer showrooms, and even some 2024 model year bikes. And those are bikes that you can get for cheaper, and it's the same freaking bike. So I don't see much reason to buy a 2026 KTM XCW. I'm talking about the Enduro line here in the US. I don't see a good reason to buy those because they didn't change them. There's no difference. There's no effective difference. And you can put down in the comments like, oh, they did this, they did that. It's all window dressing. I've been paying attention to this for a long time. And the differences between 25 and 26 are all window dressing. And then the bike is more expensive. So why buy the 2026? Especially with the financial troubles that they have, and especially that since in a lot of areas, and maybe not in your area, look, if you really needed a KTM 2026, you know, you're not even gonna be swayed by this opinion, but if you're a frugal shopper who's looking around and doing some calling around to different dealers, you're gonna find out you can get a 2024 or a 2024 or a 2025. Mostly it's gonna be the 2025s that you'll find for a heck of a lot cheaper. The other reason is they didn't update the frames. And the biggest problem I have right now, currently, with the XCW bikes is the frame, okay? I don't like the frames that they put on there. In 2023, they kind of changed most of their bikes over to this newer motocross style frame that they had. The SX bikes got it, and the XC bikes got it. And then in 2024, excuse me, in 2024, the XCWs got it, and they still had it in 2025, although they tried to soften it a little bit. And in 2026, they have the same frame. And it's my least favorite frame that KTM has put on an enduro bike since I started paying attention to this in about 2012, okay? It's stiffer, it's more rigid. The bikes don't turn as tight when you go on a full lock turn. They don't turn nearly as tight as they used to, which makes it harder in the nastier, more enduro stuff, more technical stuff, because this handlebar can't turn as much, and you can't really adjust it here because of the way that the frame has been updated. And I just haven't been able to get as good of traction. And again, this is an XC, so I'm really talking about the PDS suspensions. The PDS is the one that comes and hooks on the top of the swing arm. On those bikes, I really haven't been able to get the good traction that I used to be able to get on hill climbs and in nasty, slow, loose, rocky technical. Think about the gnarly stuff that you do, the gnarliest stuff that you do, especially if it's loose and rocky and in that harder enduro stuff. I just haven't been able to get as much traction on the new frames, 2024 and newer, on the PDS like the XCWs. I used to love, like, if you could give me a 2020 XCW frame, that's frickin' money, okay? So if you would give me a 2020 KTM XCW frame with the newer TBI motors, that's what I would really want. So it's like when I have these calls with people and they say, what should I buy? Or I get these emails from people, what should I buy? You know, should I get this TPI or this TBI? I'm like, look, the TPI, the transfer port injection bikes, the kind of first generation of the fuel injection, there was some tuning required. The bikes ran great as long as you did a couple things to them. And some of them ran great no matter what. But I could always make a TPI bike run great. The TBI bikes, the throttle body injected bikes, those are even a little bit better running. Most guys like that better, but I don't like the frames that they're put in. And so really, if I was going out and getting a bike today for me, I'd be looking for a 2025 300 or 250 XC. And the reason why is because I think the frame updates that they did in 23, 24, 25, and 26 all favor the linkage bike. They all favor it. That's what I've come to believe. The changes, all that stuff, greatly favors the linkage bike, which wasn't always the case in 2020 and 22 and 23. The XCWs were money. So you give me an XCW frame from 2020, 21, 22, or 23, give me that frame, but then give me the TBI motor. But it's even more complex than that because the forks on the 2024 and the 2025 XCWs, frickin' money. It's that closed cartridge exact spring fork. Best forks I've ever had. But I can't get traction with the shock. So I just have all these like problems. And I haven't had this many problems where I'm just like, well, I would like this. I like this, but I don't like that. Like and KTM has just kind of a little bit lost their way in the enduro lineup. Let me say that again. I think KTM has lost their way with the enduro bikes just a little bit. Because the fork is money on the enduro bikes, but the shock on the XCWs doesn't really work very well with the frames. So the motor is money, but I don't like the frame. I don't like the way. So at this point, I'm back to like, if I'm gonna buy one bike to rule them all, and it has to be in the KTM lineup, and the motors are amazing, the forks are amazing, the brakes are amazing, I'm looking for a 25 300 XC or 250 XC. And that's what I just gave to Alex Lipscomb. He's the winner of the June sweepstakes. Just as a side note, I am doing a September sweepstakes, but we didn't make enough money to even buy a bike for me in the last two sweepstakes. So the only bikes that I have are this 125 XC for my son and a 250 SXF for my other son. But I am doing a sweepstakes in September, and I've just like cut out all the fluff. So I'm gonna give 10 winners hundreds of dollars. So basically what it's gonna be is in the September sweepstakes, if there's anything still on my website that you want, and please buy any of that stuff first, it gets you entered into the sweepstakes, and then all of my affiliate links, you click on my affiliate link for Rocky Mountain ATV, you click shop Rocky Mountain ATV, you get automatically entered to win $2,000 cash. So the grand prize winner is gonna win $2,000 cash, so you can buy anything that you want for your dirt bikes, or you can take your family on vacation. It'd be awesome. 2,000 bucks cash. Runner-up winner is going to be $1,000 cash, and then 8 other people are going to win $500. So we'll have 10 winners. We're giving out the prize pool is $7 grand in cash, and that's going to be split between 10 people. 2,000 for grand prize, 1,000 for runner-up, and then 8 other people are going to win 500 bucks cash. So it's going to be pretty stinking cool. So anyway, that starts in September 1st through September 30th, and I want to get this sucker back to where we can actually afford dirt bikes again. Because I do not have a dirt bike. I wasn't crying wolf. Those last two sweepstakes didn't do well, and the last one was summer, and I didn't want to just be a Debbie Downer, but it didn't make enough money to continue that. So if I can make enough money on this one to buy another bike, we'll close out the end of 2025 here with a sweepstakes at the end of the year. But this one in September. This is like, let's build this sucker back. I will probably be starting another company too, to try to build some content, film some content for local businesses and stuff. I've been working through getting kind of that lined up a little bit too, but yeah, 2026 is not the model year that I'm excited about with KTM, because they didn't make any changes, and the changes that they have been making through 24 and 25, other than the forks, have been not good for enduro. I don't think. You know, the motors on the XCWs are awesome. Same with the XCs. So if you want to have a call about this and really dial it in on what you should buy, there's a scheduler on my website. You can just hit that. But yeah, I'm a little bit sad about the 2026s, and I don't think it's that good of a deal. I think I'd look for a 2024 if they still exist in your area, or a 2025 because it's better bang for the buck. And I'd rather have an XC than an XCW currently. So even though the XCW forks are freaking awesome, I keep pointing to this isn't an XCW, but the forks are freaking awesome, the motor's freaking awesome, but I don't like the frames, and I don't like how the rear shock works with all that. I can't get traction on it as good as I used to. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Please use those links to Rocky Mountain ATV. It's the only reason we're still having this conversation. I give you real talk. When these bikes are great, I'll tell you, and when they are not great, I'll also tell you. So that's what I have for you guys. And until next time, leave a single track. Thanks.